She stood there, furious, demanding I dig through a bag of rotting fast food to find her lost cinema tickets. 45 minutes earlier, she'd watched her kids smear ketchup across the walls like it was finger paint, and said nothing. So when she asked me to clean up her mess, again, I smiled and said, "I'll show you exactly where it is." And then I let karma do the rest. If you've ever worked customer service, if you've ever swallowed your pride while someone treated you like you didn't matter, this one's for you. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment if you believe respect is earned, but consequences are inevitable. Let's get into it. When I was younger, early 20s, I worked as a shift manager at a McDonald's in the UK. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't exciting. It was fluorescent lights, beeping fryers, and the constant scent of salt and grease clinging to your clothes long after your shift ended. But it was honest work, and for the most part, I didn't mind it. You learn quickly in fast food that you're not just serving burgers, you're managing chaos. On this particular afternoon, it was the usual blend of families, teenagers, and pensioners nursing cups of tea. Busy, but manageable. Then she walked in. A youngish mum, 3 kids, I'd guess between 8 and 13, old enough to know better. From the moment they sat down, it was clear this wasn't going to be peaceful. Chairs scraping, laughter escalating into shrieks, one kid tossing fries at another like confetti. I watched from behind the counter as my lobby attendant, a sweet girl, maybe 17, did that tight smile customer service workers perfect, the one that says, "Please stop," without actually saying it. But here's the thing, kids being loud, that's life. Restaurants are public spaces. You expect noise. What you don't expect is destruction. About 20 minutes later, they finally left. The mum gathered her bag, her kids still bickering, and they breezed out the door without so much as a glance back at the battlefield behind them. A few moments later, the lobby attendant walked up to me. Her jaw was tight. "You might want to get someone to cover me," she said. "This is going to take a while." That's when I knew. I stepped out from behind the counter and walked toward the table. And I stopped. The tabletop was covered in empty burger boxes, shredded Happy Meal cartons, half-eaten nuggets, open sauce packets leaking on the plastic surface. That alone wasn't unusual. I never expected customers to perfectly clear their tables. But then I looked closer. Ketchup. Everywhere. Not spilled. Smeared. Across the seats, across the wall, thick red streaks dragged deliberately into shapes. I could see little handprints pressed into it, finger trails spelling out half-formed words. It looked less like a meal and more like a crime scene. And underneath the table, I crouched down, chewed fries, spat out, pressed into the underside of the table like some grotesque art project. I felt my jaw tighten, a slow burn climbing up my chest. Kids can be messy, sure, but this wasn't an accident. This was intentional. And the mum? She had been sitting there the whole time, watching, saying nothing. That's the part that got to me. Not the ketchup, not the fries. The silence. The quiet approval of someone else will deal with it. I stood up and looked back at the lobby attendant. "Go on your break," I told her. "I'll handle this." Her shoulders relaxed instantly. She deserved better than scrubbing someone else's bad parenting off the walls. So I grabbed a bin bag, and I didn't pick through anything. I swept it all in. The boxes, the nuggets, the sauce packets, the shredded cardboard, the sticky napkins, and right in the middle of it all, a small purse and 4 cinema tickets. I paused for a half second. There it was. Consequences. I could have pulled it out, could have set it aside, but all I could picture was that mum staring blankly while her kids vandalized the place. So I kept sweeping. The purse disappeared into the bag with everything else. I tied it up tight. Then, just to make sure it blended in, I cleared a couple more tables and dumped their leftovers into the same bag. For good measure, I added a scoop from one of the kitchen's food waste bins. The ascent intensified instantly. I carried it out back to the bin area and subtly marked the bag so I'd recognize it later. Then I went back to work. 45 minutes passed, and right on cue, the front doors burst open. There she was, panic written all over her face now, the kids trailing behind her, suddenly much quieter. She approached the counter, breath quick. "Hi, yes, my purse. I think I left it here, and cinema tickets. We were just here." I nodded slowly. "Oh, I'm terribly sorry," I said, keeping my tone professional. The table was in quite a state. I cleared it myself. There was no way to spot personal items amongst everything. Her face shifted, defensive. "Well, can you check?" "Of course," I replied. "I can show you exactly which bin bag it went into." We were quieter now, hardly any customers around. I turned to the lobby attendant. "Go ahead and take your lunch." No witnesses, no guilt pressure on my staff. The mum followed me outside to the bins. I pointed. "It'll be in that one." She stared at the bag, then at me. "Well, aren't you going to get it?" And there it was, the expectation that I would once again clean up after her. I shook my head. "No, I'm afraid that's not my responsibility." Her eyes widened. "Excuse me?" "I've shown you exactly where it is," I said calmly. "If you'd like it, you're welcome to retrieve it." She looked toward the door, toward her kids, back at the bin. "The film starts soon," I added lightly. "You may not have much time." And with that, I walked back inside. Through the window, I could see her standing there, frozen. Then, she opened the bag. Even from inside, I could almost hear the wet suction sound as she pulled the knot apart. She hesitated only a second before plunging her hand in. Sauce-coated napkins, half-eaten burgers, cold fries, grease-soaked cardboard. Her movements became frantic, tossing handfuls of soggy waste onto the pavement. The kids stood nearby, watching, silent. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Finally, I stepped back outside. She was elbow-deep now, hands smeared red with ketchup, bits of chewed food clinging to her sleeves. She looked up at me in humiliated fury, and I gave her the brightest customer service smile I could manage. "I recommend," I said cheerfully, "in future you not let your kids purposely make such a mess." For a moment, she didn't say anything, because she couldn't. She knew. She knew exactly why this was happening. She found the purse eventually, the tickets too, slightly stained but salvageable. She grabbed them, gathered her kids, and left without another word. The doors closed behind them, and for the first time that shift, I felt lighter. Not because I had hurt someone, but because I hadn't allowed my staff or myself to be treated like we were invisible. Customer service workers aren't your servants, they're people. And sometimes the most effective revenge isn't yelling, it isn't punishment. It's simply refusing to rescue someone from the consequences of their own behavior. I didn't scream at her, I didn't insult her. I just handed her the responsibility she tried to leave behind. And that felt earned. Teach your kids 2 things: clean up after yourselves and treat people with respect. Because one day, the person you look down on might be the only thing standing between you and a bag of your own mess. If you've ever had a moment where karma handled things perfectly, drop it in the comments. I read every one. Like the video if you believe respect should go both ways. And subscribe for more stories where justice isn't loud, it's deserved. I'll see you in the next one.